these changes that are you're looking at, the amendments you're looking at, what's the prognosis overall for the bill? Is House going to pass it?
Well, despite kind of a very loud vocal minority, I think there's a lot of support for doing something. And I mean, that's what I'm hearing from our folks. We certainly understand the emotion and the perspective coming from particular parents who don't want to vaccinate their kids. But a lot of people think we need to do this from a public health perspective. So I think building some confidence with some of the amendments that are being asked for, I think will help us get the bill passed at the end of the day.
Those amendments, would you consider going to like the tack that Washington took where it's just the philosophical exemption but the religious exemption stays in place? Would you consider a concession that large?
We don't believe we can just have, I think the problem is we just can't do the religious exemption. It's either all or nothing. And I think we want to go with there is no non-medical exemption route. But again, clarifying which vaccinations are required, I think will be clearer for parents. When does it start is one of the issues. And the other issue I think is, should the vaccination requirement be, what does it do for online schools? Because if you're not actually with other students, does it
Right.
make sense to still require it if you're an online student?
In Washington, they're kind of dual tracking two bills.
Yes, they
One
are.
just for municipals, one for all vaccinations. Any thought of doing something along those lines?
I do think some folks have said, why not just do MMR? Honestly, I think if you saw the story about tetanus in the Oregonian,
Yeah.
it's a little hard to argue just MMR.
On the required vaccinations, there was some question during testimony about basically, how would that process, if you got rid of the exemptions and the state decided we wanted to add a new vaccine to that schedule, if there's any sort of public input that could be provided. Is that something that's being looked at?
I think what's being considered is for vaccinations that would be suggested could be determined by rule, but anything required would have to be put in statute.
Okay.
So I think because right now it's not the case, but I think there might be, the amendment will show certain types of vaccinations that would be required. And then if OHA wanted to say, well, your kid might also want to get X, Y, and Z, that's a recommended schedule, but those wouldn't be required. I think that's the difference they're going to make.